Pittsburgh CLO's 2026 PNC Summer of Musicals. Feel the music with Beautiful, the Carole King musical, the inspiring story of a girl from Brooklyn who became a chart-topping legend. Mean Girls, the fiercely funny smash hit musical based on Tina Fey's hit film. And don't miss the Tony Award-winning sensation, Suffs, the bold, brilliant story of the women who fought tirelessly for the right to vote. 3 must-see shows, 1 unforgettable summer of musicals. This June and July at the Benedum Center. Get your tickets today. PittsburghCLO.org.
Today's episode is supported by AIDS-Free Pittsburgh. There are more than 5,000 people living with HIV in southwestern Pennsylvania, and the Ryan White HIV/AIDS program provides support services to help them get the care they need. That includes assistance with things like healthcare, medications, housing, transportation, food, and treatment for substance use disorders. Visit AIDSFreePittsburgh.org to learn more.
This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about.
Hey, executive producer Mallory Falk in for Megan today. I am with producer Sophia Lowe. And Sophia, please tell me, what was your favorite hangout spot at the mall when you were a teen or a tween, however early you got started?
Okay, in middle school, you could definitely find me at Bath & Body Works getting 5 for $5, the little hand sanitizers, or at Hot Topic getting way too many Doctor Who buttons and pins that I just kept in like a mug.
This is going to really age me, but I was a Delia's girly. I would browse through the catalog and then hit up the mall to get the platform wedges that spoke to me from the pages of the catalog.
Very fun. I do not know what that is, so hope that didn't help. To be fair, I think I was the final mall generation because my sister, I don't think she would have a mall hangout spot, and she's just 3 years younger than me.
Well, fellow elder millennials, you know very well what I'm talking about, and we can all collectively hide under the covers hearing that Sophia does not. We are going to return to malls a little later in the show because there may be some new life for the old site where Century 3 Mall once sat. We're going to talk about that. And we've also got some important transit updates for anyone trying to get around the city of Pittsburgh this summer. But we're going to start on a more serious note because we have an update on a story we've been following for a while now. And that is the Trump administration's attempt to open 2 new immigrant detention facilities here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so we've talked about this on the show before. ICE bought 2 warehouses in Berks County and Schuylkill County. They were going to plan to convert these into detention facilities that together could house up to 9,000 people. That's a lot. And not surprisingly, there was a lot of pushback, and even from the state level, because Governor Josh Shapiro said he would, quote, aggressively pursue every option to prevent this from happening. And I know ICE is looking to offload these warehouses now, but beyond the headlines, I haven't dug too much into the story.
Yes, this is the new update that ICE is now looking to get rid of these warehouses that it bought earlier in the year. And I think it's important that buying these warehouses was part of a national trend, and now trying to offload them also part of a national trend. So,
which surprised me. I know everything with ICE is happening so fast, and the Trump administration keeps going back and forth on everything. But I feel like it was just a couple months ago that we saw this news about those warehouses getting bought up.
Yeah, I think the story kind of broke in February, if I'm remembering right, that ICE was buying up warehouses across the country, including these 2 spots in Pennsylvania, all as part of this movement toward mass detention and mass deportation. This was during the Kristi Noem era, of course, the former Department of Homeland Security secretary. And so I think all told, the government bought 11 warehouses across the country. One of the ones in Pennsylvania was a former Big Lots distribution center that they planned to turn into a place that would house people. But at least the way the New York Times is framing it, and it looks like they were the first really to report this new development. The new DHS Secretary, Mark Wayne Mullen, is kind of taking a different approach to all of this, where he wants to speed up deportations instead of keeping people in detention. And so is kind of reversing course on these warehouse conversions.
So what is the plan for these warehouses then? Or is it sticking around as part of the government, or is ICE just selling them to whoever? This could end up being another Big Lots again.
Yeah, it's sort of TBD. The reporting is saying that like of these 11 warehouses ICE purchased, the idea is to offload 7 of them, either by giving them away to other federal agencies or selling them. So unclear exactly what's going to happen. The 2 sites in Pennsylvania are on that list of ones they're looking to offload, but it's unclear how they chose which ones to keep, which ones they're looking to get rid of. Like there aren't a ton of details at this point.
Okay. I'm interested in following this more. I hate that we're offloading these warehouses to deport people faster because when I saw the headlines, I was like, is there a chance ICE is pulling back?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. Like, it does seem like the new DHS secretary in general kind of wants the agency to be quieter about how it's carrying out immigration enforcement.
But no less terrifying, surely.
Yes, exactly. Maybe just like not as upfront about plans. And, you know, in the statement that DHS provided to the Times about all of this, there was the statement that, you know, once people are arrested, they should be, quote, removed at lightning speed, not housed on American soil at the taxpayer's expense. DHS is moving swiftly to utilize existing detention space with our state and county partners. That statement also used a ton of very dehumanizing language that I am not going to repeat on the show. But yes, this seems to suggest that the idea is to deport people more quickly, although, I mean, there are steps the government is supposed to follow before deporting someone, which includes holding and processing them. But also, you know, I wonder if a piece of this shift in strategy is also that there have been lawsuits about these warehouse conversions, not specifically in Pennsylvania, but in some other states around the environmental and community impacts of turning warehouses into detention facilities. Our state's own Department of Environmental Protection raised concerns about this too, that these communities where these warehouses are don't have the kind of water and sewage systems that can support facilities. Like there wouldn't be enough drinking water available for all of the people being detained on site.
That is so messed up.
Yeah. You know, I was reading one article in particular saying that like a community pushing back against one of the Pennsylvania facilities, they felt like discussing immigration and immigration policy was too divisive, and they really focused on like lack of transparency, drain on local resources, so that even setting aside sort of questions about how ICE is operating, rounding people up, doing these mass deportations, there are all of these other issues.
Right. It sounds like people are going to be hurt no matter what kind of community you're a part of when a warehouse shows up in your neighborhood.
Yes. I mean, worth saying the biggest impact is the people who are held inside.
Oh, of course,
but it has
100%.
Far-reaching consequences. But, you know, some of those lawsuits, like in Michigan and New Jersey, got some traction where ICE had to say it wouldn't do anything related to the warehouses until it did more environmental tests. So it does seem like maybe these legal roadblocks are part of this calculation that moving forward with these conversions does not quite make sense. But we will definitely be keeping our eyes on this to see what ends up happening with these warehouses. Of note, Penn Capital Star in their reporting mentioned that these 2 spaces haven't been generating tax revenue since the government bought them. So again, like just all of these ways that whatever your touch point was, there were many reasons people pushed back against these sites.
And even though, you know, these warehouses in Pennsylvania might not turn into detention centers, we do already have the largest immigration detention center in the Northeast. So this is Moshannon Valley Processing Center. It's in Clearfield County, and it's about 2.5 hours east of Pittsburgh. And, you know, at the top, I mentioned that Governor Shapiro was really pushing against those warehouses. He is also getting involved in Moshannon Valley. He just called for an independent investigation into the center after inspectors with the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections and commissioners from Clearfield County. They all showed up for an unannounced visit and they were denied entry.
Yeah, I was catching up on this story. I guess the county has a contract with the private operator who runs the site, Geo Group, and it allows for county inspectors to enter. So Shapiro and others clearly not happy with this. And I think it's notable this is happening against the backdrop of ICE and Geo Group's contracts with Clearfield County are set to expire in September. Mm-hmm. And so the county commission will be voting on whether to renew those contracts. So you have folks trying to kind of see what's going on in there, being told they can't get in. This to me is another one to watch, like whether we might get an independent investigation into the site and how this experience of some county commissioners being turned away might influence that vote this fall.
Yeah, and our local lawmakers were also turned away at Moshannon at one point, but they were able to get in recently. And we actually talked a little bit more about their visit and what we learned about the conditions at the detention center. So we'll have a link in the show notes if you want to go back and listen to that. And just one more ICE update for now. Some state lawmakers just proposed a package of bills to keep ICE away from sensitive spaces. So this includes places like schools, hospitals, and polling places. This is happening in the state Senate. I'm definitely also interested in looking at this, especially as we head into a midterm election in November. Most of these bills have been referred to committees, so we're still waiting to see whether they move forward, but just something to keep on your radar.
Today's episode is sponsored by the Frick Pittsburgh Museums and Gardens. If you want a taste of Paris right here in Pittsburgh, their next exhibition is perfect. French Modern's Matisse Renoir Degas is coming very soon. We're getting in work from really famous French artists, painters, and sculptors, folks like Cézanne and Rodin. And you don't need to be a dedicated student of art history to appreciate this work. Yes, they are legends now, but back in their day, these artists were considered radicals. And some really put a foundational mark on art movements that we still celebrate today. Things like realism, impressionism, cubism, surrealism, and more. I feel like it's easy to forget, but it's in part because of artists and masterworks like these that we think about Paris and Parisian culture the way we still do today. I, for one, am really excited to see this exhibition, maybe chase it with a stop by the Frick's little cafe and a stroll through the gardens. It's going to be so much fun. Look for French Modern's Matisse Renoir Degas at the Frick starting June 20th and get your tickets at thefrickpittsburgh.org. CityCast Pittsburgh is brought to you today by Quantum Theater. I meet a lot of people that are trying to get into Pittsburgh's theater scene. They're trying a show here or there. I want to recommend Quantum. They've got a show coming up called The Tempest. Director Carla Booz has been involved in our art scene here for more than 30 years, and she is ending her time with Quantum on a high note. She is directing Shakespeare's The Tempest. It's this epic play that's all about power, revenge, forgiveness, transformation. And y'all, they found the perfect setting, the Carrie Blast Furnaces over in Rankin. If you have never been, it's like stepping back in time. And since Quantum is all about immersive experiences, I am betting the audience is going to get a unique taste of all that metal and machinery right there on the Mon. If you haven't checked out Quantum yet, now is your time. The Tempest opens July 17th and runs through August 23rd. Get your tickets today at quantumtheater.com/tempest.
Okay, we are opening up our mailbag to talk transit. We've got important updates for bus riders and drivers alike. We're going to start out with a question from one of our neighbors, Mary R. Mary said, apparently PRT is phasing out the Connect card. Why is this happening? I am confused about what exactly we need to do to get new cards. She said there weren't a lot of great resources to understand what's happening. There doesn't even appear to be a deadline. So please help. Mary, we are here to help. Sophia specifically is here to help. And reminder to everyone out there, Connect card, it's like the blue plastic card you can load money on and then use to pay for the bus instead of having to dig around in your pockets and cough up $2.75 in bills and change. I still cannot believe that it costs $2.75 for a bus ride, but that is a different conversation for another day.
Yes, thank you so much for writing in, Mary. I totally agree with you that PRT has not been super clear. I haven't seen posters or anything about this transition, and I ride the bus a lot. So I am going to take over for them. I will explain to the best of my ability. So PRT is phasing out the Connect card, and they'll be transitioning to the new card. It's called the Ready Fare card. This one is gray. It's got a little bit of a yellow on it. It looks very different from the Connect card, which I think is nice to have a new visual. So this project's actually been in the works for a while. PRT spokesperson Adam Randolph mentioned it when we talked with him last year. But when I dug into it a little bit more, I learned that this actually started in 2019. So it has been years in the making. 2019 is when PRT bought this new validator system. So this validator system was to prepare for this new Ready Fare card, but the whole process was delayed because they needed to get the trademark for the card name, get the actual machines, all of that stuff. And then PRT eventually decided to push this rollout to after the draft because they thought it would be extremely confusing to have this transition when we have hundreds of thousands of people in our city. So I think that was a good idea.
Yes, agreed. That I think was a good call.
Yeah, so then the whole transition is part of like a cost savings measure at PRT, and it's also going to modernize the system and fix some kinks in the system in the current bus riding experience. The biggest thing I'm excited about is they're going to fix this reloading issue with the Connect cards. I actually stopped using the Connect card because it bothered me so much. So the problem is that when you load your Connect card with money or like reload it online, it takes like 2 or 3 days to process and actually get to the card. So a lot of the times when I reloaded, I was riding the bus, I tap, and the bus driver would be like, nothing's on there. And I was like, dang, I refilled this like 2 days ago to try to prepare. And then I'm like scrambling for cash in my pockets and I'm holding up the line and it's really embarrassing and awkward. And I hated it. So I just started paying with the transit app instead. I talk about this app all the time. It works in so many cities. I love it. But, you know, maybe I'll go back to the Ready Fare card after this. The Ready Fare card, when you reload it, there's going to be no delays, money instantly.
I really think it's 2026. You should be able to load money immediately onto your card. This feels like a very long overdue update that I am excited about too, because Sophia, I have had the same experience as you and the mild panic I went into, like trying to see if I had any loose change anywhere in like any pocket in any little section of my backpack. I did not like that experience.
Yeah, and I have 100% watched other people on the bus struggle with the same thing. So I think it's going to help a lot of people. One of the other things that this is going to change is the Ready Fare card and your mobile account on PRT's app. That's going to be under one account. I never got the PRT app, but apparently that and your Connect card had separate accounts. And I get that it'd be extremely annoying to have 2 logins for one system. So good things to come, hopefully.
This all sounds like a very positive change. I am curious, like at what point can you stop using the Connect card and switch over to Ready Fare?
Okay, I think this is the part that gets a little dicey. Both the Connect card and Ready Fare card are in use right now. So you're still able to use either one. There isn't an exact end date for the Connect card yet. I think that is super annoying. But PRT says that the date should be late 2026. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be happening like in the next couple weeks. And you can spend what is left on your Connect card, but you won't be able to add more money to it. I tried to confirm this by trying to add money to my Connect card account, and it did let me go through most of it. I didn't click confirm because I didn't want the money to go out of my bank account. So I'm a little unsure about that, but I think for safety, don't add more money to your Connect card yet.
Got it. And so how exactly do you get this magical Ready Fare card where you don't have to wait 2 to 3 days for your money to show up?
Yes, if you are a Connect card user and PRT has your email or address, you should have gotten a mailer about this change. This is not trash. This is not an advertisement. There's this QR code on it that you can scan to sign up for a free Ready Fare card and it'll get sent to you. I got this mailer, I think about a week and a half ago, filled it out right away. I still don't have my Ready Fare card yet. So again, I think be patient and maybe, think about timing this out. This card is also totally free. If you want to go in person or you maybe threw out that mailer, there are machines being installed across the city for Ready Fare cards. I've seen some go up downtown. There's like one on the north side, a couple on the south side, one at the airport, if you're on vacation and want to get that fixed away if you're at the airport early or something. The PG reports that cards are free until September. So this is kind of to encourage people to sign up and make the transition. But after September, it is just $1. So, not expensive either way. And once you get your Ready Fare card mailed to you, there's supposed to be instructions on how to transfer your fare balance. There's a form online as well on PRT's website. Processing time for this is 1 to 3 business days, but hopefully that should be the last one.
But this is a one-time thing.
Yes. And, if you don't want to deal with the whole like new card situation or maybe want to wait until the transition is fully complete, you can use the transit app like me. PRT, I've mentioned they also have their own app where you can buy tickets. That's called Ready to Ride. You can stick with that too.
I hope eventually all of this is going to build up to tap to pay to just make everything as simple as possible, where you can just like take out and tap your credit card to get on the bus. Sophia,
PRT
I know
has talked about that, but I just haven't seen any recent updates. So maybe this new validator system, it's down the line. You will hear it from us. You will hear it from me. I'll be so excited.
the moment Sophia can tap to pay, you will be hearing it on the pod. Sophia will come like directly onto the mic to share. We have one other big transit update for you, which is that the Commercial Street Bridge is getting replaced. And if you ever drive on the Parkway East, you need to know about this. We don't usually talk about road closures and bridge replacements on the show, but this is going to affect a lot of people. So reminder, Commercial Street Bridge is the one that runs over Frick Park, a 9-mile run, and leads in and out of the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. Tons and tons of people use it for their commute.
Yeah, this is getting closed down because, Mallory, like you said, the bridge is being replaced. And I actually really want to watch the bridge replacement because apparently PennDOT, after they demolish what's currently there, they're going to be like sliding a new bridge into place. I don't know too much about the process. Someone told me it's like actually being slid like inch by inch over the course of many days. So maybe that's not actually exciting, but I don't know. I still want to see it anyway. And I need a good viewing spot. So if you have one, call or text our sliding bridge hotline at 412-212-8893. Preferably, this is a space I can get to without a car due to all the road closures. But I want to see this happen.
I was just talking to some friends about the idea of watching officials slide a bridge from one place to the next. And someone likened it to when they were a kid and watched Three Rivers Stadium get imploded. They were talking about how they like went with their family early in the morning with hot chocolate to watch it. So maybe this is the next generation's Three Rivers Stadium implosion.
Yes, viewing party.
But so yes, in order for all of this to happen, a portion of the Parkway East is going to be closed from July 10th to August 3rd. This is the section between the Squirrel Hill Tunnel and the Edgewood Swissville exits. It is going to be quite disruptive, like I said. According to PennDOT, this is one of the most traveled routes in Western Pennsylvania. More than 100,000 vehicles cross the Commercial Street Bridge daily. So things are going to be a bit of a headache for a while.
Yeah, I have some friends in Swissvale who have just been like, yeah, I'm just going to not leave my house for 3 weeks and I need to do my Costco run before that. So if that's you, lock in those dates. Some of the closures will actually start earlier next week, but that's a much smaller section, not the Parkway East just yet. We'll actually have a link in our show notes to PennDOT's map of closures and also an article from Axios Pittsburgh that has a map of the closures, detours you can take, and even a recommended bike path to avoid all the chaos.
Yes, if you are able to bike, I think that might be your safest bet through all of this. So definitely check out that route. But if you want to have fun on a bridge, not just like watching a bridge get slid to the side, we are actually going to be partying on the Andy Warhol Bridge this weekend, and you should come join us. This weekend is the 100th birthday of the Andy Warhol Bridge.
Woohoo!
Allegheny County is hosting a big party to celebrate, and our own host, Megan Harris, is going to be emceeing the event. The whole CityCast Pittsburgh crew is going to be there. It's this Saturday, June 27th from 11 to 3, so we would love to see you there. It is free. It's family friendly. There's going to be games, food, music. There will be a bridge building competition, so if you were the kid who was always really into like making a work of art out of toothpicks and marshmallows, this is for you. There will be prizes for people who come dressed on theme. Interpret that how you will, whether you want to show up as an Andy Warhol lookalike or dressed as a bridge. And then there's also
Please come dressed as a bridge. I want to see that more.
Yes, I would love to see as many creative interpretations of bridges as possible. There's also going to be a very cute commemorative poster for sale. There will be so much great stuff. So we truly hope to see you there this Saturday, 11 to 3 on the Warhol Bridge. And last up, we are checking in on the fate of Century 3 Mall. It has officially been fully demolished. The last wall came down last month. But according to new reporting in Public Source, a developer in Chicago is potentially interested in buying the site. Sophia, Century 3's heyday was before your time in Pittsburgh, am I right?
Yes. When I moved here not too long after is when they started demolition. People were all freaking out about it. And I was like, it's a mall. Isn't the mall era gone? It's okay, guys. Don't worry. But
the mall
alas.
era is gone, but I'm sure in the time since then you have learned how much Pittsburghers cling to nostalgia and refuse to acknowledge when anything has changed.
Yes.
There is so much nostalgia around this mall in particular. We actually did a whole episode about it. We'll drop a link in the show notes if you want to learn about what made it special and like really dig into its decline. When it opened in the 70s, it was actually the third largest mall in the world. It did not get to hold on to that title forever, but it was a big deal when it opened its doors. But like many, many malls across this nation, it kind of started to decline over time. Sophia, are you like me? Have you gone down the whole like dead malls rabbit hole where you look up all the creepy abandoned food courts?
Now that Backrooms is out, a little bit more because other people are like resharing their old mall pics.
Yes, this is a whole thing, not exclusive to Century 3. And, before its final decline, this new owner, Moonbeam Capital, took over in 2013. There was some hope that maybe it would have a new life then, but Moonbeam kind of left it to languish. It got to the point where it was, essentially beyond repair.
Yeah, I listened to the podcast episode. I think that was like right when I was joining CityCast Pittsburgh. And, Matthew Newton, he's a local author who wrote the book on malls. He kind of convinced me that Century 3 was pretty special. And something I found interesting that he said was that you could kind of tell it was declining when local stores, independent businesses started moving in instead of, chains and, Claire's, that kind of thing. Because that meant that the rent was so cheap that normal people who are like just getting started with their businesses or who were like, this is their only store could afford it. You didn't have to be this giant name brand.
Yeah, he is a true mall expert. They are his passion. I recommend listening to this episode to learn more. But, the mall, it eventually did close. There's been a lot of drama around it, including a lawsuit over unpaid property taxes. The West Mifflin Borough Council voted to condemn the property in 2023, in part because connected to this whole, trend of taking photos of dead malls. Like, I think all these influencers were kind of sneaking in and getting footage, and it was becoming unsafe. Someone got injured.
People were getting hurt. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the thought was, we just got to like knock this thing down and remove this giant safety hazard in our borough. Demolition started in 2024. And like I said, it actually was just completed a month ago.
Yeah. And Allegheny County District Attorney Steven Zappala also filed felony charges against the building owner. So this was because of those hundreds of reports about hazardous roads, unsafe conditions, vandalism. And the trial's actually happening in July. So the saga kind of continues, actually.
Yes. So I guess the final chapter of Century 3 Mall hasn't been closed yet because we'll have to see what happens with this trial. But looking forward, I think people are really hoping that the site, the space, it can get put to productive use and generate tax revenue for this community. The site's been demolished. It is time to move forward. And it'll be interesting to see if this potential buyer works out some kind of deal and starts to redevelop the site.
Yeah, Public Source reported that it could become a mixed-use space for housing, retail, and offices. Love to see that. And the potential buyer says he wants a, quote, use that is phenomenal. So I think that's sort of building the hype up. And this guy's company has developed spaces around Pittsburgh. So that includes the shops of Monroeville and the Tesla Center that's in Bridgeville. And Public Source also reported that there were some preliminary ideas that came from a real estate firm. So that includes entertainment facilities, a 4-story housing building that would include 160 units. There'd be a community space, 5 restaurants. Didn't say which restaurants because, that's what I'm interested in. But TBD if the buyer and the real estate firm are connected, because when Public Source reached out, they weren't able to connect with the firm, and the buyer didn't really share any details about that.
Yeah, I think the fact that this developer has experience in our region makes it feel like this is more of a real prospect than if it was just, some random developer who had kind of never touched any land here.
Yeah, I think so for sure. But I did want to bring up some ideas people on Reddit proposed when the mall first closed down, just because, I like to see what's out there and I want to see what lives up to that, phenomenal use. And people suggested things like Lunar Surface Training Center and zombie-themed paintball area where you can also watch Romero films, and also a reverse escape room where you have to break into the building. But I guess, they'd have to build a new building for that one.
Yes, I think all of these ideas were sourced from Reddit. I do love the idea of something that honors the legacy of Century 3 because, Sophia, I know you were skeptical when you got here and people were mourning this structure, but I don't know. As a born and bred Pittsburgher, even though I know the nostalgia is absurd, and I actually don't even know if I ever shopped at Century 3 in my life. We are more of a Monroeville Mall family. I still love when you can honor the legacy of a Pittsburgh institution that was.
I do love that. I mean, I would love to see mixed use space. I think anything that combines housing and community stuff is great. But my pitch would be Buc-ee's. I really want a Buc-ee's in Pennsylvania.
Okay, I can 100% get behind that. I think I've mentioned on a previous show my love affair with the banana pudding at Buc-ee's. So if I could get that here, Western PA would have everything I could possibly need. That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can support us by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. You can learn more at membership.citycast.fm. And seriously, do not miss your opportunity to come hang with us on the Warhol Bridge this Saturday. We will be reminding you again, but we would love to party with you, and we would especially love it if you are dressed like Andy Warhol. We will be back tomorrow with more from around the city. Talk to you soon.
Taking me back to 6th grade when I did bridge building for math class. That was whose bridge could hold the most weight.